Wonka, starring Timothée Chalamet, Hugh Grant, Rowan Atkinson, Olivia Colman, Calah Lane, Tom Davis, Keegan-Michael Key, and Sally Hawkins.
We review it Wednesday.
So I want to say I love the movie that because it had color, lots of fun color. It had nasty, funky singing. There was way too much of it at the beginning.
Well,
there was a nice block of a break of just
no
normal
singing.
acting and no singing.
Yeah.
And they had to wreck it.
See, and that's what I struggled with. I was like, oh, it's going to be a musical. I guess I'll just settle in for that. And then they stopped singing, and I was like, what would you even classify this film as? Granted, I agree the music...
A film that nobody asked for.
That's, well... And I agree the music...
of a story that didn't work with what's his name?
Timothée Chalamet?
No, one before that. Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. My wife likes that. Oh, actually, no, she does not like the Wonka films. Who was I talking to that likes Johnny Depp in Willy Wonka?
He did a fine job.
Yeah.
But...
nobody asked for the remake.
No.
I don't even think it's technically...
It's not a remake. It's
No.
like a reboot. It's like a retelling.
Yeah.
So this is like an origin story.
Right. Which I was
very intrigued by that.
Currently intrigued. Yeah. I wish it was done better.
Yes.
The story was not intriguing.
No. It was too long. Things were drawn out way too long. The singing was drawn out too long.
Yeah.
That could have been...
I wish they would have committed.
Yeah.
I wish either they committed or just took it completely out, because it's weird that it was in the middle ground.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, they had like 3 or 4 songs at the beginning, and then...
like, bam, bam, bam. And I'm
nothing.
like, no way. We're not sitting here for
And
this.
after watching Spirited last week, I was like, oh, Matt's going to love this.
know.
2 musicals in a row. And
I'll do it for Christmas. But,
yeah.
man, this one, woo!
Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, the color was good.
The cinematography, it'll be fun to talk about that.
It just wasn't a believable world overall. Like, not that it was supposed to be believable, but like, it didn't really. There was a lot of continuity stuff that I had issues with too.
Yeah.
It didn't seem they knew what world they were establishing.
Right.
And even at the end, they built the Wonka factory, but yet I don't think you'd ever want to build a musical around Timothée Chalamet.
He projecting the imagination like they did throughout the film.
Yeah.
So was it built yet, or the sign didn't say. That's one of those things I try to look for. The sign didn't say sold for. It said for sale.
For sale.
Right, and so there's some of those kinds of things that.
See, I thought they were going to redo the whole like township with Wonka's factory. Because you saw the fountain, I was like, oh, this will be perfect. Of like this. This is where he's going to build this factory.
Because the whole underground thing, because obviously that was a thing.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it was odd.
It was odd. I don't know.
What do you think of Keegan?
Michael Key?
Michael Key.
I like him, and I think he does such a good job in everything he
thought
does.
He started off really strong.
Yeah. But they wanted his character, they wanted him to get weaker and weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
Right? So it worked.
It did, but I didn't like it.
That, how it progressed? Or?
Right.
Yeah.
I thought he started pretty strong, and then you're right. Maybe it was just because they were trying to make him a weaker, like, not a weaker character, but like, weak
person.
Yeah.
Like, an
I'll
addict.
give anything for chocolate. Yeah.
Right. He was an addict.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It's interesting to watch these things over my lifetime because you see how they're trying to change culture type things.
Right.
And it's really interesting to watch that as an old guy.
Yeah.
And it's all the things I'm not going to talk about what they had in here, but you see it and it's like, that's just really weird.
Yeah.
That they do it just to show the numbers essentially.
Right.
So I don't quite understand that.
Yeah.
if you're gonna have actors that fit the part.
Right.
Because there was actors in here, I thought that was like, yeah, that
Could've
didn't
been
fit
better.
for you.
Yeah. I wish they would have had more Oompa Loompas.
Yeah, I was expecting that they had some sort of like clone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I thought I did watch the trailers for this.
Yeah, I did not.
I don't watch too often. I'm watching more of them.
Yeah, you're going down a slippery slope.
I know, right? And so I sort of thought that Hugh Grant Oompa Loompa was some sort of like cloned thing.
Okay.
On one trailer, I got the impression that there was like a couple of them at least.
Oh, interesting. I did not watch the trailers.
I don't know why that is. I'm probably like, it was probably the night I was smoking crack or something.
Well, now it tracks.
Yeah.
But it's weird because
I don't smoke anything actually, ever, cigarettes or anything. Just FYI.
Yeah, this is where you can put the little caveat. Well, because they made it even in this film to make it seem like he was an outcast Oompa Loompa. And so how are they going to recruit anybody else besides he has good chocolate? But still, to me, both of them are kind of outcast characters. And Wonka still stole those choco beans or whatever they were.
Yeah, but he didn't know he was stealing them, which was kind of a weird way to tie it together in my opinion.
That's right.
I don't know.
Or take your land.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I also thought it was weird too because he's gone to all those places. Why did I add another S? All those different places, and it would have been intriguing to actually see him harvest all those different, like the storm clouds or the ray of sunshine or any of those things, and they kind of cut those parts out. That would have been more interesting.
Yeah, they could have, exactly. It could have been like literally a 30-second or 10-second thing.
Yeah, they could have done a song.
Like it. You're out of here.
I'm out.
No, so the point I guess I'm trying to make is they drew certain things out too far, too long, where they could have added in, like, call it even as he's telling the story of the chocolate, a memory.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been anything like that for just a few seconds.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is disappointing in some of the filmmaking that I think is missed are those real quick bits.
Yeah, it's weird what they focused on the film.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the actors.
Yeah.
There were actors in this film.
There were.
It was weird.
It was odd.
There's quite a few of them.
There sure were.
And I will say Timothée
Chalamet.
How do you say his name? I'm terrible with names. Everybody knows it.
I'm pretty sure it's Timothée Chalamet.
It is Timothy. I thought that was some sort of like weird French thing.
Could be wrong, and it definitely would not be the first time.
Fiancé.
Tim.
Are you supposed to say it? Timothée.
Tiny
like
Tim.
Like a little French thing. Like I can clearly do. Anyway, back on track.
You gotta get the mustache, and maybe it'll work.
He did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree.
He sold his part.
Yep.
In my book.
Yep.
We call it actor chemistry.
We sure do.
For a specific reason.
Yeah.
How did they interact together?
Yeah.
How was that character, I think we call it both kind of character and actor chemistry, but how was that character interacting with others?
This is where the blend happened, where I get emotional. Because you talk about the story, how well is the story written, but you can sometimes see that the actors actually have great chemistry, but there wasn't great storytelling, and so then it's not that the actor chemistry wasn't high, it was that the storytelling wasn't high.
Fantastic point.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to me, it's like, nope, I'm watching this film, and if the story writing sucks, that makes me feel like they don't connect well, then it's all clumped together.
Yeah. No, it's a good point.
Yep.
I compartmentalize.
Yeah, you get your waffles.
The waffle, a little bit differently than you do.
Yeah.
And so I look at Timothée
Timothée.
Whatever.
Oh no, not that one.
That didn't come out right. He's a very good actor.
Yep.
I'm not sure. He appears to be like a method actor.
Yep.
So I'm assuming, that he's just in character.
Yeah.
Because it just is. He sells it.
He sure does.
But
it was fun to watch.
Yeah. But you get into some of the other interactions and that it wasn't as believable.
It felt like they were reacting to his character versus acting who they were supposed to be in relation to the character.
I was trying to think of how to verbalize. You freaking nailed it. But we're supposed to argue a little bit more.
Well, then, I said it, so you can disagree with what you were thinking.
So it's just interesting how that does work with. It was almost like there was several scenes actually. I got the impression like they were starstruck by Timothée and they were reacting to what he was doing,
which is so strange.
It is, and there's some intimidation, I'm sure there.
Yeah.
With the other actors,
right.
And I mean he's done very well in a very short time,
right?
And some of the actors here, I'm sure, have been around, longer than he's been alive.
You would think,
and haven't really gone anywhere. So there's got to be that factor. However, that is not up to me. That is up to the director, and if the director cannot make it work and make it happen, then I am now out.
Right.
And there was about probably 50% of this movie that I was not sold on what they were doing.
No.
I would think that if they were doing this on stage, I would probably have bought into it a little bit better because I would have been there type thing. But it seemed a little bit more like that.
Yeah.
To me. So my score for the actor chemistry comes in at a weak 3.7.
Yeah.
So that's my bit.
I unfortunately, to the audience, agree with a lot of what you said. I thought the reveal of Slugworth's character of being what was he, the uncle technically to Noodle?
Yeah.
I thought that was really weak. They could have.
It was agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish they would have done absolutely anything else different with that character or the major plot line. They could have just not had it to the main point because it really didn't add anything to the story.
What was the point?
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
How was that relevant to the story?
The only thing that it could be is that we realized the mom was still alive, but they could have done that a variety of different ways.
Oh, a million different ways.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing I really have to add to the whole character chemistry because the whole three of them, Slugworth, Prodnose, and then was it Ficklegrubber?
Yeah.
They had some strange names. Even their chemistry was really strange. It was not good. Because there was a lot of scenes where it was just those three together, and then sometimes Keegan-Michael Key was in there as well. And it was just strange interactions. I did not enjoy those scenes.
No, I agree. Some of them were a little bit funny.
Yeah.
There was some heartwarming stuff that, they were showing their evilness, and, there was some things that other people a couple little things, but it wasn't enough to redeem it.
No. So overall, I actually gave it a little bit lower of 3.5. I was hoping for a lot more with the characters. Again, because they didn't kind of build off of the wonder of Wonka, of going to different places he went to get all the different chocolate, they decided to focus on the characters. And I don't think they lived.
And that's what we talked about recently too. That's world building problems.
Yeah. Exactly.
That is world building problems.
Right.
It is not. They're not focused on the film. This 2 hours. They're focused on the world building.
Yeah.
The Wonka world building.
Yeah.
Doesn't work.
No.
I mean, it rarely works.
Right. Especially
DC just did a terrible job on it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, I like a lot of their characters.
No, I agree. Yeah.
But the overall world building of DC is terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Marvel is really the only one that did it for a short time.
Yeah.
In my book.
10 years.
That's a short time.
It is.
Relatively to anything. Yeah. I mean, did they really do it for 10 years well? There was probably close, I guess. Yeah.
I would give them 10 years.
Yeah, 2008 to Infinity War.
Yeah.
Would have been 10, 11 years. Yeah.
So I'll give them that.
But anyway, when you watch a film like this that should be a standalone success or fail, you can watch them build the world.
Yeah.
And that's an automatic fail to me if you can see that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
If you can watch it and not understand that's what they're doing.
Right.
They sold it, great, which is what Marvel did.
Yep.
But they didn't do it.
No, they did not.
Yeah. And you had mentioned that before too about world building a few episodes ago.
Right.
Yeah.
I care about my worlds. Well, we're gonna have to do a Planet of the Apes pretty soon.
I know.
That's exciting.
I was looking at there's a lot of movies, Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah,
I was thinking a ton.
Yeah.
I've probably seen most of them over the years, but
I've only seen the main trilogy.
Okay.
Or not the main. I can't say main trilogy because obviously there's so many, but I've seen the most recent trilogy.
It's just that would be fun to do.
It sure would.
Yeah. They're fun ones. Fun that they did that was a pretty good job on the world they built there.
Right.
Yeah, on that last.
I just saw not to get distracted too much from this film, but just saw a trailer for that one. I'm super excited.
Yeah. So moving on to cinematography.
Yep.
That redeemed a lot of this film for me. It was fun to see. Do you remember that bridge that he was walking over? I think in the store or something like that. The actual.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it was one of the dream ones. Maybe it was, but
maybe we're all dreaming.
Yeah. So anyway, but he's walking over this bridge, and it looked very real, and so I think that it was because I've built furniture. I built it for 20 years. So you kind of look for things like, oh yeah, you can see some of the definition and stuff and like that. They might have built that actually.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. There was a few of those kinds of things that I saw.
Yeah.
There's other things that you see, the ship that he was boarding, that was a terrible set.
Sure was.
But
don't worry, it got blown up like 10 seconds later.
Yeah. And so then they throw a scene like that, and I'm like, you lost me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had all
unnecessarily
these other details.
even.
Yeah, exactly. And so but anyway, there was so much in there. There was good change of color.
They did the weird puppet thing with remember when they gave the guy a chocolate and they decided to shut the curtain, and it looked like something from the Muppets almost.
Yeah.
I was I don't know why this is here, but it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly. So the changing of those colors and the locations, even though it was within the same city for the most part, I thought they did a really good job, and so it's a 4.0.
Yeah, I really enjoyed how they, again with Timothée Chalamet, I really like how they really created a world where he was whimsical.
Yes.
And so all the scenes that they knew what his character was. And so I think they did a great job designing that, because I like the balloons of them floating and then popping, because those were really colorful. The flamingos, which were strange, and then they were eating shrimp and blocking the road. I was not expecting Mr. Bean in this film.
I did see that in one of the trailers. Yeah.
I was like, gosh, the only movies I've seen him in,
I saw it somewhere, but
were Mr. Bean-esque,
oh really?
They're Mr. Bean films.
Funny.
And so I saw him, I was like, what in the world is he doing here?
Yeah. That would be a fun shot.
Yeah. And then the first scene you see him in too is when he's eating the chocolate. Oh, yep, that's a Mr. Bean face.
Totally.
But yeah, the cinematography was fun. I really enjoyed it. It was the highlight of the film. I wish they would have played more with it, because again, when they went to the Oompa Loompa land, it was really colorful, really different. Super exciting to see what they did with that. It would have been intriguing too to see what they could have done, even a, like you said, 30-second glimpse of, let's capture thunder, let's capture the sunshine, because those would have been really cool short scenes, mattering on, again, how they did them. it could have also been really crappy. But.
Right, and it could have been like a narrated scene. Like he was talking about the whatevers, and there was a narration through it, so you didn't need to talk or really do much of anything.
Yeah.
Other than almost still photography would have done the job. Like, oh, he's thinking about
this
it.
A nice, like they could have done postcards.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, I gave it a 3.8.
Okay.
I did like the cinematography for the most part. Again, the world building kind of kind of destroyed it. And then they did some things where they did when Noodle had a dream, they did kind of the library thing. It would have been intriguing. It would have been interesting to see if they played with that more.
Yeah.
Because they only did that with a few scenes, and so then I think
that's a good point.
Yeah.
That was weird a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did it. I would say
it was like a line drawing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was 2 scenes with that, and then I would agree with I would say probably at the end with what they were doing with Wonka, there's probably a dream-esque thing. So technically, I would think it would follow in that same scope, but I wish again they would have done that more.
Yeah.
Especially since he had such a vivid imagination, they could have done that more throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
So those were my wishes and dreams.
Good point. Overall entertainment. I am quite happy that I took a power nap before I went to the film. Let's start with that.
See, well, that would mean that you would somewhat enjoyed it. Otherwise, you could have taken a power nap through it and then say, "I'm happy I didn't take a power nap,
right. so that I could actually evaluate it."
Yeah, that's fair.
This would not keep me awake most of the time.
No.
I mean, it just wasn't. There were parts that were very fun, very entertaining. Yeah. Like mentioned, the cinematography. I really enjoyed a lot of it. But there's not enough there to, I can't imagine I'll ever watch this again in my lifetime. No.
It did make me want to watch the Gene Wilder version of Willy Wonka again.
Right, just to be entertained by Wonka.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so with that said, the overall entertainment, because there was so little entertainment for me, it's a 3.0.
Okay. Yeah. And again, unfortunately, I agree with you with most of it. We'll have to start watching horror films, and then we can finally disagree on how we feel about
musicals.
Things. Oh, yeah. And again, I would not classify this as a musical. There was not enough music.
No, but it was borderline.
Yeah. It was. If they would have added 2 more songs, I think we would have been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think you'd ever want to build a musical around Timothée Chalamet.
No.
That would be
some of those other
terrible.
Singers they were trying to get.
Keegan could probably sing. If he was actually being serious. There was a TV show on Apple Plus called Schmigladoon or something. It had a really weird name. But that was a musical-esque TV show. He was in that. I don't think he did do a ton of singing. Yeah, Schmigladoon. It's a really weird name. That's a wholly Megalodon. But some of these comedic actors have a very strange talent to be able to sing, and so he would be one of those people who would not surprise me if he was somewhere able to sing. But yeah, I wasn't super entertained. I probably wouldn't watch it. The storyline was dull, and that's a lot of times what keeps me in. The cinematography was fun, but it wasn't like the worlds weren't like, wow, this is so cool to see.
Right.
So I gave it a 3.3.
Okay. You like the singing more than I did there. That's
I
what
did.
that point 3
well,
is for, probably.
There was some part of, like, when they, referencing the original Wonka, there was a lot of times, too, in the background. It was interesting because you could hear themes of those, like the Oompa Loompas,
right.
Come With Me, and You'll See a World. Like,
yeah.
They were doing those parts not when they were singing. I was like, oh, that's kind of really cool.
Yeah.
And I personally, that's like, if you want to hit me, I am all in on nostalgia. And the music is usually one of the bigger hitters of like, man, it's really cool to see how this blends. And like, they're usually so subtle that I don't pay attention to like, you see something in the background, oh, there's an Easter egg. But if you get the music, that's where I'll usually catch a lot of the Easter eggs from other films.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Well,
That's it.
That's it, folks.
Yeah.
Willy's out.
Yeah. Not my Willy.
No, Willy Wonka.
Oh!
He's out. It's a good thing these are at the end where there's fewer listeners.
There's
viewers,
so many
right?
different ways you could take that, too. Willy's out. Oh, no. Wonka's out. As long as we're not in the closet, I'm fine.
Legit Q at Matty'sMovieMix.com. I don't think he would get through that, so I had to do it. That's how you leave us a comment that we will see. Actually, I'll see it. I usually don't share it with Tyler, but I'll tell him
I'm a sensitive man.
So anyway, peace out.
Hammer the share button. Go ahead and hammer out a comment to us. Go ahead and hammer the like button. Go ahead and hammer the subscription button. Go ahead and hammer the notification bells, because you know what? That's the best way you can support us. We appreciate it.